This week, Reggie Miller and the Pacers are steamrolling through the East, while the Jazz are scrambling to make the playoffs in the West. Plus, we'll tell you about a magical night for Tracy McGrady. Take a look back at some of the NBA's legendary announcers. And as always, we'll bring you the top 10 plays of the week.
Followed by Amari. Oh my, did you see that? Get out. He's unstoppable. You cannot believe what we just saw. Oh, man, what a dunk. Tear up that rim, young fella. Sensational. Ooh, I'm shaking in my chair. Oh, and home.
We tip things off by taking you into the action with a team that's been leading the East all season long, the Indiana Pacers. As the playoffs approach, the Pacers are peaking at just the right time. They have the NBA's best record and 7 wins in their last 8 games. And now, Indiana's looking for a long run in the postseason after 3 straight first-round exits.
The way we've lost the last 3 years, it's kind of gave us some experience. You know, it's taught us, unfortunately, how to lose games. And since now we know how to lose games, we've learned how to win games at the same time. And I definitely know for a fact we get out of the first round this year and take it to the championship, hopefully.
But first, they had to deal with rookie Carmelo Anthony and his Denver Nuggets. And the Pacers turned to their all-star Jermaine O'Neal.
Jermaine O'Neal on the perimeter.
And while Jermaine sparked the Pacers early, Denver's super rookie was carrying his team as well.
Carmelo, see you later. What pass, Ron Artest. But there's 1 of 10 in the second quarter. Jermaine O'Neal, good defense by Michael Doliak.
O'Neal finished the game with 31 points and 10 rebounds, and he was getting plenty of help from his fellow All-Star Ron Artest. By halftime, the Pacers were up by 12, and they would add to their lead in the second half.
10 to shoot it. Artest, finger roll is good.
And throughout the game, the Nuggets never did find an answer for O'Neal.
Jermaine O'Neal makes it an 18-point game. You got to be kidding me.
Jeff, go to town again.
Here's Jermaine O'Neal, and they call a foul. That'll count.
The Pacers walked away with their 5th straight win, 103-94. Next up, it was back to Indiana to face the Toronto Raptors, and Jermaine O'Neal went right back to work.
Artest leads to O'Neal, and he buries the ball. Nice pass by Artest.
But Toronto, fighting for a playoff spot, stayed in the game with a big lift from Air Canada, Vince Carter.
Carter, this time, cannot avoid the drive.
Vince scored 21 points in the first half alone, putting his team up by 4 at halftime. But the Pacers used their aggressive defense to turn things around as Ron Artest went right around the Raptors.
Artest with several steps and then wheels in, and that's compliments of Jamal Tinsley.
Down by 4 late in the fourth quarter, the Raptors came back to tie it with the help of rookie Chris Bosh.
Bosh skies and hits and is fouled.
The game went to overtime, tied at 81. But then Jamal Tinsley and the Pacers took charge.
Tinsley with 2 seconds on the clock. Swish. So now it's Artest. Swoops to the hoop. Didn't get enough on that. Foster with his specialty. 2 seconds on the shot. Reggie Miller fading away. Beats the clock in desperation.
Indiana ran its winning streak to 6 with a hard-fought win over the Raptors, 94-84. Next, the Pacers were off to Boston to take on the Celtics.
First quarter, all Indiana so far. Harrington down on the baseline, spins away from Davis and gets 2.
Al Harrington led a strong performance from Indiana's supporting cast, including Jonathan Bender. And by the third quarter, they'd built a 19-point lead.
Here's coming around the screen, gets the handoff, got it tipped away by Artest from behind. And he finishes with the strong right hand.
Meanwhile, Reggie Miller was up to his old trick, scoring 18 points, while Jermaine O'Neal was taking care of business at the other end.
Atkins to Welch. Rejected by O'Neal.
And flying in to finish things off was Bender.
Crozier to Bender. Nice job there, John.
The Pacers would cruise to victory 99-81, their 7th consecutive win. Taking a look at the NBA.com Eastern Conference playoff picture, the Pacers, with the league's best record, would be the top-seeded team if the season ended today. The New Jersey Nets, who lead the Atlantic Division, would be the second seed. The Pistons are in third place. The Hornets are fourth. The Milwaukee Bucks are fifth, followed by the Cleveland Cavaliers, who've won 7 straight games. The New York Knicks and Miami Heat are tied for 7th place, while the Boston Celtics are 9th, 1 game out of the final playoff spot. They're followed by the Toronto Raptors and Philadelphia 76ers.
You're watching NBA action on Fox Sports Net.
Now we take you back into the action, this time in the West, with a team making a surprising run at the playoffs, the Utah Jazz. For the past 15 years, the Utah Jazz have been one of the elite teams in the Western Conference. This season, head coach Jerry Sloan knew it was time to rebuild with the departure of John Stockton and Karl Malone. Yet his team has managed to stay competitive.
Teach players to play hard, then they have a chance to grow and get better. And we got a lot of young guys that need to grow and get better.
I do believe we're going to surprise some people. We've got a lot of good talent on this team. It comes down to, as soon as we can get everybody believing that we can play with the teams in here and not thinking that we're going to go out and get drove every night, the quicker we get better.
Their former superstar Karl Malone was back in town last week when his Lakers paid a visit to Utah. And though the mailman remained out with an injury, Jazz fans were still pumped to beat L.A. But Shaquille O'Neal would make himself right at home in the paint. And with Shaq dominating the early going, the Lakers got out to a 10-point lead in the first quarter.
Wow.
But then one of Utah's new additions would step up. Gordon Kiricek kept the Jazz close as he finished with a team-high 21 points.
Check open. There's Russ left beam, a jumper good. He has 3 field goals, 6 points for the Jazz.
It seemed as if Gary Payton and the Lakers would settle down and take control once again. But then things started to unravel.
Russ with it. Down court to big Shaq. From the hoop. Hammer dunk to Ricochet.
Shaq's frustration was only beginning. He ran into double teams on defense and then was called for a technical foul after a fourth quarter dunk.
He's gone. He's out of here. He's gone.
Shaq was ejected from the game with his second technical, and the Jazz would take full advantage, going on an 11-0 run to take the lead in the final minutes.
5 seconds. 3 for a shot. Kiricek, ball away. 20, 30. Oh,
Down the stretch, the Lakers came up short as Utah scored 20 points in the game's final 4 minutes and ended a 5-game losing streak against L.A.
The Jazz win it. Over the Lakers pick up the 32nd win.
Next up, the Golden State Warriors came to Utah, where they hadn't won in 10 years, and the Jazz would try to keep that streak going behind their all-star Andrei Kirilenko, who had 20 points and 15 rebounds as Utah raced out to a big lead.
2-on-1, Lopez is.
We out it back to Kirilenko.
They run the floor well.
The Jazz still had to contend with the explosive Jason Richardson, who led the Warriors' attack. But Utah would never let Golden State get back in the game. And by halftime, they were cruising with a 26-point lead.
Knocked away, pushing ahead to Bell on Dunleavy.
The Jazz went on to beat the Warriors for the 19th straight time at home. Next, it was off to the Valley of the Sun to take on Phoenix. And once again, the Jazz were on the rise.
Andrei Kirilenko strong to the cup.
And Gordon Kiricek continued his strong play, scoring a career-high 33 points to ignite Utah.
Lopez pushing it up to Giricek, goes up and finishes at the rim. Another fast break opportunity.
Down by 10 at the half, the Suns turned to Amari Stoudemire.
Oh, the power and fury of Amari Stoudemire.
Amari was carrying Phoenix with 26 points.
Stoudemire, savage jam.
The Suns pulled to within 3 late in the fourth quarter before the Jazz started to pull away. They scored 9 of the next 12 points with timely shooting from Raja Bell.
Raja Bell for 3. Give it to him. Back-to-back bombs for the Jazz.
And sealing the win was Gordon Kiricek as the Jazz continued their recent surge and moved to within a half game of Denver for the 8th and final playoff spot in the West.
Utah now has won 8 of the last 9 contests with the Phoenix Suns, 99-90 here at the America West Arena.
Now let's check the NBA.com Western Conference playoff picture. The Sacramento Kings are currently the number 1 seed. The Minnesota Timberwolves, leaders of the Midwest Division, are holding down the 2nd seed. The LA Lakers are third, just ahead of the Spurs. The top four will have home court advantage in the first round. The Mavericks are fifth, followed by the Grizzlies. Then it's the Rockets in seventh, the Denver Nuggets holding the final playoff spot. The Utah Jazz and Trailblazers are tied for ninth, a game and a half behind Denver. We're back with more NBA action. Time now to log on to NBA.com, beginning with a scoring attack by T-Mac in Orlando. Last week, Orlando's Tracy McGrady recorded the NBA's highest scoring game in 10 years when he exploded for 62 points against the Wizards. It was clear that Tracy was in the zone.
36 points for T-Mac, 44 for McGrady, 22 in the quarter, 50 in the game for Tracy McGrady.
By early in the fourth quarter, McGrady had broken the franchise scoring record of 53 points. But he wasn't stopping there, because in this night, everything he fired up was going in.
Oh, he banked that in. Oh, he banked it in from half court. It won't count, but when you got it going on, you've got it going on. Give it to him anyway.
T-Mac leads the NBA in scoring, and if he goes on to win the crown, he'll be just the 9th player in league history to win back-to-back scoring titles.
For a personal accomplishment, this is huge. I am the returning leading scorer for the NBA, and I'm leading this year, so this should boost me up, and this was just an outstanding performance.
In other news, the New York Knicks bolstered their front court when they signed four-time All-Star Vin Baker. The 11-year veteran began the season with the Boston Celtics, but he was released after violating the terms of his alcohol treatment program.
I'm just going to take it one day at a time and try my hardest from day to day not to make the same mistakes that I've made in the past. I'm grateful for the opportunity the New York Knicks have given me. It's just tremendous for me.
Vin joined the Knicks for an important matchup against the 76ers in Philadelphia. And this one would go right down to the wire, with New York leading by 3 in the final seconds.
Sixers down 3. Can they get it to Korver? It's Thomas, not a three-point shooter. There it is! Yes! Oh, yes!
Despite Kenny Thomas's first 3 of the season, the Knicks would still have another chance to win it.
There it is for Muhammad!
How's that here?
He had the look.
It was on to overtime, where the Sixers found themselves trailing once again, this time by 2 with time running out.
Snow trying to bust up Marbury for the tie. No, yes. Put it beautifully. Wow, what a play by Kenny Thomas.
0.2 of a second remain. Not enough time for a catch and shoot under NBA rules.
Oh, are they going to count it? Muhammad slammed it in at the end. Will they count it?
But the bucket was waved off, and Philly won at double overtime.
A heartbreaking loss for the Knicks tonight in Philadelphia.
Time now for more NBA action.
It's time to go to work.
Now we remember 3 of the NBA's legendary announcers, Marty Glickman, Johnny Most, and Chick Hearn, in this edition of Secret NBA. The NBA was launched at a time when many sports fans were glued to their radios. But at first, basketball couldn't seem to find a place on the airwaves.
The one sport that was not being broadcast and was enormously popular, it was just not being broadcast at all, was basketball. And I set about getting those games broadcast right after the war. I was still in uniform when I did my first basketball broadcast in December of 1945.
Man, have you dug that mad Marty Glickman announcing basketball games? Up to midcourt, bounce, fake, set shot, swish, 2 points. Absolutely the greatest announcer I ever heard. Jack Kerouac on the road.
He brought, the game to life, Madison Square Garden. I knew what it was like before I ever walked in there because of Marty Glickman's broadcast of the Knicks game. 13, 14 years old, I went to a basketball camp. After dinner, we would watch Converse films about basketball that year, basketball 1952. And the voice of the Converse films was Marty Glickman.
Carl Braun in close with a twisting jump shot.
Marty Glickman was the Knicks' first radio announcer from 1946 to 55, and also became the first voice of the NBA on network TV. He created many of the phrases that have now become part of today's basketball vocabulary.
In those days, being just a bit younger than I am now, I used to work out with the New York Knicks and shoot baskets, and I'd stand alongside of Carl Braun,
And when he'd shoot, he'd say swish, because he anticipated the ball would go through the hoop. And Carl was a great shooter. So I used the word swish on the air to indicate the ball going through the hoop. He shoots, swish.
Hi there, sport fans. This is Johnny Most reporting for the Boston Celtics.
Johnny Most was as much a part of Celtic lore as Red Auerbach, Larry Bird, and the parquet floor. He spent 37 years as the voice of Boston basketball. Sitting at his perch high above courtside, Johnny brought the action home in his trademark gravelly voice as he described some of the classic moments in NBA history.
Putting the ball on a play, he gets it out deep, and Havlicek steals it. Over the stand goes. Havlicek stole the ball. It's all over. Back over to Worthy, and it's picked off. Goes to Hammonds, and he lays it off and in. It's all tied up. A great play by Hammonds.
For a minute there, I could hear Johnny Most going, Henderson steals the ball.
My voice is distinctive, I guess, and it's different. It's unique. It's the product of a lot of screaming, a lot of cigarettes along the way. They told me I shouldn't say bad things about Isaiah, and I say, why not?
Every time we got fouled, we got killed. Every time we fouled them, what game is the referee looking at?
He has the audacity to complain about something. He was disgusting in this display.
He was totally partial, which was all right with us.
And he gets the pass. Goes into the lane. Jump pass back out to DJ. DJ throws up. It's gone! It's gone! And no time left! It's all over! I strain my voice. I'm screaming all the time, and I'm rock and roll. But my philosophy is, say what you mean what you say. If you're emotional, be emotional. Don't try to hide it.
And the Lakers, they couldn't throw a pea in the Pacific. He throws up a brick big enough to start a new sidewalk. It is in the refrigerator. The door is closed. The light's out. The eggs are cool and the butter's hard.
When the Lakers moved to Los Angeles from Minneapolis in 1960, Chick Hearn became a fixture as the team's play-by-play man. He called over 3,300 consecutive Laker games, bringing the same enthusiasm to each broadcast as he talked about the game he loved.
It made your job so easy because all you had to do with a big, fast-talking Irishman like myself is say what happened, describe it.
I've been listening to Chick Hearn for almost 40 years, and I still laugh every single broadcast.
Puts Vlade in the popcorn machine, dribble drive, slam dunk, and Vlade's covered with salt and butter. Top of the key to Aguirre, knocks Worthy down with a charge. There's no call at all. No harm, no blood, no ambulance, no stitches. The best part of the game for me is a close game, and I'll tell you why. The players work harder in a close game. The coaches have to show their ability to make strategic moves, and for the broadcaster, myself included, it's a lot easier to really be into a one-point or a tied ball game going to the final minute.
To the left goes Magic. He's got it. He didn't shoot it. 5 seconds left. Magic down the middle, just what I thought. A hook shot at 12. Good!
This guy is such a creative genius and has such a sense of how to create the experience that he's witnessing for someone a million miles away.
Welcome back to NBA Action. All right, time now for the top 10 plays of the week in our NBA TV Countdown. Starting us off at number 10 is Denver rookie Carmelo Anthony going a mile high.
Oh, strong move to the basket by Anthony.
At number 9, Spurs veteran Robert Horry knows his way to the rim.
Horry went in and crushed that. And then a very late blocking foul on Brian Cardinal.
In at number 8, Miami's Lamar Odom brings down some heat on the Hornets.
Yes, sir! A smashing finish for Leapin' Lamar. Get that one, PJ.
In at number 7, this wasn't exactly what Denver's Nene had in mind, but he'll take it.
Ends up going in. Oh, my goodness. That'll count.
Checking in at number 6, Chicago's Antonio Davis turns into a raging bull against the Sixers.
Did it? Oh, my, did he hammer that and Kenny Thomas down. Oh, KD showing a little life here.
And at number 5, Tracy McGrady's outburst against the Wizards included this sweet reverse.
Oh, my. That's the prettiest one. That's the prettiest one tonight.
He's spectacular. 57 points for McGrady.
Coming in at number 4, the Nets come away with the ball, and Jason Kidd knows exactly what to do with it.
It feeds Scalabrine behind the back. Oh, that's special. Kenyon Martin on the dunk.
In at number 3, the Sixers' Kenny Thomas finds just enough time to get to the bank.
Thomas for 3. Banks it in. He banks it in with 4/10 of a second remaining. It was Kenny Thomas who was 0 for 4 from three-point range this season.
Coming in at number 2, things were coming apart for the Celtics until Paul Pierce bailed them out.
Shot clock down to 3, down to 2. Here is Pierce, and he scores. The shot clock rolling down, and Paul Pierce able to hit an impossible angle jumper.
And with the number 1 play of the week, the Raptors steal the ball, and then rookie Chris Bosh steals the show.
With a dunk! That was sick, wicked, and nasty!
That's our show for this week. Last week, fans on NBA.com said that this dazzling drive by Jason Williams was the number 1 play of the week, and it's certainly worth another look. Remember, you can vote for your favorite play all season long by logging on to the league's official website, NBA.com.